a la creación espiritual en este plano es la mujer, ¿no? Que trae vida, hasta el simbolismo de esa semilla. Entonces todo ese conocimiento se ha ido manifestando, ha sido perpetuado, ha seguido siendo enseñado, y aún quiero aclararle que aunque nosotros veamos a muchos de nuestros líderes, vamos a decir,
it is a very exciting day for me. I waited a long time to see just this, actually 25 years, so this is an amazing moment for me. So thank you very much. So I'm going to give you a very brief introduction as to how I came into the whole Taino thing. As like many of you here, I also at one time or another thought that I was the only Taino left, or the only person that identified as Taino. I think a lot of people here can relate to that. One summer, I had come back from a powwow, and there was an event at Central Park. And that day, a friend of mine who was Cherokee says hello to me, and then I told him, yeah, man, here I am again, the last Taino. And he goes, no, there's more. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, like, look, that guy right there is a Taino. And that guy was Robert Rosario, who also works here at the museum. And so I ran up to him, and we started talking. So he told me about this series of meetings that had been taking place. There was like about 3 meetings in, about people that were, like myself, getting together to, for this, acknowledging their Taino roots. I'm just going to skip through this real quickly over here. And this was a picture of that group that was taking place at that time. So these meetings originally were in Manhattan, I believe, in a basement. I came into this at the 4th meeting. At that time, I met Miguel Seguin, who's here. I was surprised to know that he had already been starting this since the 70s, so he was actually also one of the very, very early people. This group here formed this group called the Asociación Indígena de Puerto Rico. Being from the Dominican Republic, I felt a little bit on the outside of that. So I stayed at the margins, but I'm very interested in what was going on. Very quickly, from the very beginning, I noticed that there was a lot of disparity of what was going on. That some people were more on a spiritual bent, others were more on a political bent. You can see at that moment who was taking position, like who the leaders are going to be, et cetera, et cetera. But the Taino nation was born out of this. This moment. But mind you, all of these things are taking place at one time, so I'm just giving you a really brief introduction to all this. The Asociación Indígena de Puerto Rico split up into 2 groups, from my perspective. One was Mexiti Yucayeque Taino, which is a very spiritual group, and the other one was, of course, the Taino Nation. The Taino Nation was, looking back in the years now, they were I always loved what they did because they were the first ones to really plant the flag and say, we're Taino and begin this process. But some of their ideas didn't fit too well with the way I saw things. But Mexiti Yucayeque definitely had more of what I was personally looking for, more spirituality and things of that nature. Within the Mexiti Yucayeque Taino, I met some members that later on became Taino del Norte. And they were fantastic. Bobby Gonzalez was one of the originators of that group. And Bobby has been instrumental in my development because all his resources he shared with me from the very beginning. So I can tell you that half of all the vast information that I have gathered came from Bobby Gonzalez. And then within that group was the Arrowhead Mountain Singers. So years before this happened, I had this experience where I was going out west to powwows, and I was embraced by a lot of native people out there, which is so different from here, because out there people just took me as Indio, whereas out here it was always a challenge. It was always people, a lot of people would, either deny it or critique, my identity anyway. So. But somewhere along the line, I felt that I wanted to concentrate on more Caribbean identity. But when I came into this Taino revolution that was being formed, I I saw the problems that were beginning to arise. So I gravitated to these as I was very familiar with North American Indian culture. And so we went powwow to powwow. Basically what we did was we played powwow music, but using Taino words. And we were instrumental in getting a lot of people into the fold. A lot of Boricuas and Dominicans would go to the powwows, and they would be happy to see that there was actually Caribbean people drumming and playing the part. But it looked like we were pretending to be something that we weren't, And at a certain point, I had this epiphany where I actually asked the guys from the drum. I said, "What are we doing on this drum again?" He's like, "What was the purpose of this?" After a few years of going to powwow, from powwow to powwow, it got very old for me quickly. But I was proud of what we had accomplished, and I thought that we were the only Caribbean people that were actually in the powwow circuit. And then I ran into these guys, and these guys were the Brooklyn Drums. They were actually the first ones to enter the powwow world as Taino. Well, actually, they didn't identify as Taino, they did identify as Indio. But they had started out of, this had begun in the 1960s from a group of Boy Scouts who had gone to a powwow and they fell in love with the culture. Excuse me. So they gravitated toward North American Indian drumming and also to brass dancing, which is a powwow style dance. Believe it or not, they were the ones who introduced the short fringes or the long fringes on the grass dance outfit that North American Indians used to play in powwow. And also, there are certain grass dance moves, like when in the grass dance, when they bend down and they do this, that's actually a salsa move. True story. The thing was, the way they explained to me was that since they were just learning, they had to incorporate what they knew, which was this. So whenever you go to powwows now, you'll always see that as the grass dancers bend down, they start shaking like this and that. That's Boricua right there. So as you can see, the appropriation was both ways. But during that time, in the powwow time, you would always hear this, like, who are these people? Where did these people come from? It's like out of the blue, all these Puerto Ricans were saying that they were Indian. And one thing that I actually heard this was, here comes those effing time Puerto Ricans pretending to be Indians. But we kept on playing. We kept on playing because we believed in what we were doing. And then later on, we heard, here comes these freaking Tainos. So we're Tainos now. I thought I had the story straight, and I thought that I knew the origins of the whole movement from my perspective. Everybody has their own perspective, of course, how they came into it. I came into it at the fourth meeting, like I said, and I met a lot of individuals. But then, and this is the part that's going to seem a little out there. I had a dream one day with a woman, and it was this woman right here, who's sitting next to me right now. And I had this dream with her before I actually ever met her, which was surprising. And then I learned that she was actually the first one in Borican to begin this movement, at least from my perspective, like I said. And I saw how, even to this day, all the groups that came after her went through her in one way or another. Like, for example, this is a dance group from Puerto Rico. I don't know if they're still together. And then this group here, I was actually at the first meeting with the UCTP. The Taino Nation had this idea that they were not a group, but they were actually spoke for all the Taino people, and or for all the other groups. And if you weren't part of the Taino Nation, you were not considered Taino. They called us, everyone else, they called us pretenders or imposters, that's what the term. So Robert Barrero, he decided that it was enough and that it was time for us to do our own thing. So he formed this organization, which is still alive and kicking to this day. So, and then of course, a little later on, you get other groups that formed, for example, like Batumaku, which is a very big group, and I find them to be very powerful because they come really close to what it was at one time. So I admire, personally, I admire what all the groups have done. They're all a little different, they're different from what I do in many respects. But for the most part, you know, we're different groups, but the reality is that we're all one group, you know. I mean, this is, we like to have these groups as this clique thing, but we're all actually one people. And then this is the group that I formed. Pass it for the time. Thank you very much. I just don't.
Gracias, Jorge. Entonces, ahora le vamos a pasar el micrófono.
Y de qué organización represento en estos momentos. Yo quiero que ustedes sepan que la vida y el tiempo me permite decirles también que yo soy la tequila de todos. Quiero que esto quede claro porque le quiero agradecer a todas las personas que han trabajado. By the way, I didn't realize I was speaking Spanish. I just Le quiero agradecer a las personas que han estado contribuyendo para realizar este momento. También quiero dar las gracias a los LENAPE, porque esta es su tierra. Hacer eco a las palabras de Cristina, porque fíjense que nosotros estamos en este espacio y aquí hay cosas que físicamente estuvieron en las manos de nuestros ancestros. Entonces, si aquí hay cosas físicas y usted hoy se olvidó de qué organización usted representa, porque hoy usted venía para el simposio taíno. Imagínense cómo está este lugar, cómo estamos celebrando. Eso que usted siente cada rato que se le paran los poros y qué sé yo qué, porque nosotros somos lampiños. Se le paran los poros y qué sé yo qué. Esa es su memoria celular que le está hablando, es su ancestro que está ahí al lado parado. Y lo que quería decirles es que yo sabía exactamente quién era antes de unirme a ninguna organización. Y así muchos de ustedes tienen sus historias con su abuela, con la tía que le contó, y usted si está aquí lo más probable es que en su familia usted es el que tiene la antorcha y el que despertó, porque puede que todavía el otro esté con el empañete mental de lo que se ha enseñado por 526 años. Pero sabe que tenemos la dicha que en cada familia sale uno, sale dos, y empieza a cuestionar y empieza a preguntar. Así que sí, represento a la Confederación Unida del Pueblo Taíno, pero yo espero, y es mi gran esperanza, que cuando nosotros salgamos de este simposio hoy, que tengamos una visión distinta, que aprendamos cada uno a respetar las visiones que tiene cada yucayeque. Porque aquí con las cosas que sí nos afectan. Que no es que si te pusiste esta pluma o te pusiste aquella en agua, o que tú sabes esto y yo sé esto otro. Es el denominador común que nos une como pueblo. Eso es lo que nosotros necesitamos. Que si yo estoy bregando a nivel internacional por los derechos nuestros, que usted entienda que no es por los derechos de los miembros de la UCPP. Que usted entienda que yo estoy tirándome también por todos. Que las relaciones individuales que tenemos, que podemos hablar, esos inbox se nos llenan, o esas llamadas telefónicas que nos hacemos, que se multipliquen. Eso es lo que yo vengo aquí. Y mire que he estado todo el santo día con estos zapatos. Respetando la soberanía y la autonomía de cada yucayeque, pero que sepamos trabajar juntos en las cosas que sí necesitamos hacer para levantarnos como pueblo y seguir diciendo el taíno vive y aquí estamos y no vamos a morir.
I'll speak in English, or at least for the translation. We started this morning with a lot of passion. That first panel was really, truly amazing. It justified everything we've done for the last 40 years. To see that panel. Wonderful. And we started with spiritual feeling, but we were remiss in not starting with a true prayer. I had a chance early in the morning to put a little tobacco up for us to clear our minds and clear our hearts for this very important work that we're doing. And I'd like you, if you could put your minds together and let's give thanks for this Mother Earth and this Father Sky, or these four directions that bring us together and from which we emanate. Our ancestors that are with us today, I mean, they've been coming into the day, they hear themselves, they like to be remembered. They like to hear about themselves. They like to know that we remember something about them. And when we do that, they can listen. They come out of their places. Well, they're fine. They don't have to be looking out after us all the time. But when we call them more and more, we see them in dreams, we see them in ceremony, they appear in prayer, they appear between mother and daughter, and father and son. So we want to at least put our minds together for a second. And I know it's against the rules, but I'm going to make just a little bit of tobacco. Just a little bit. The ancestors.
Christina Gonzalez. And I've had the privilege and pleasure of being part of the research and curatorial team, for the Taino exhibition. I'm here at NMAI, and I also have the great honor of being here with Dr. Barreiro and all of his wonderful women leaders in the contemporary Taino world to the muse on this idea of Taino futurity. Taino futures is on something I'm very much interested and invested in, both personally and professionally. Besides being Boricua of Indio descent, I'm a doctoral candidate in sociocultural anthropology at the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm currently living here in New York City, where I was born and raised, doing my PhD work. My work basically looks at what constitutes contemporary Taino's subjectivities or identities, and the ways of belonging. I look at how cultural survival as well as reconstruction and renewal and rebuilding work together to cultivate and establish Taino peoplehood in the 21st century. And I see my work as contributing to an emerging and needed current and Caribbean studies scholarship that takes indigeneity seriously, and that does so respectfully and with care, as well as systematically and with rigor, and largely from a decolonizing framework. I am also a person who stutters, and I'm proud of it. The words are going to come out. It might take some time, but your patience is kindly requested and appreciated. I also wanted to quickly acknowledge the ancestors in this building in the form of the objects that are held. Ancestors that represent indigenous communities, indigenous stories, and indigenous life from throughout Turtle Island, Abayala, including the lands of Taino and Native Caribbeans. So, Jose and I are going, actually, there's a change to our schedule. You'll notice that Nasha Oldin is up there, but she's not here, and we're very unfortunate to have Pedro this Barado here, as well as Balanani, Marilyn Diaz, and Peli. So Jose and I were going to read their bios, but I think we're going to go right into asking them to offer a greeting to the audience and introduce themselves in a brief way. They're what communities they come from. And yeah, we can start in this order.
Good afternoon.